Alright, looks like we have the map, so it means we're live. And so tonight I'm going to go do a little Mirage F1 mission that I just built. It's a really quick and easy type of thing, but I've hidden some targets close to the village here on the border in the forest. And I'm going to try to bomb from low level with the bombs with the chutes. And I also have rockets to finish off the enemies. There's a helicopter flying there, so we'll see if we remember how to engage them with air-to-air. And if it doesn't work too well with the F1, I'll also put an F-16, which I've been flying a lot of lately, so I've got both in the mission. But I really want to practice my F1 and just head to the hill over here and then dive and do a low-level bombing. That's going to be fun. There is a AAA defending the site. There could be like a BTR-80 that could shoot at us. It's pretty basic. Didn't even put infantry, but we'll see how things go. And as I said, if everything goes bad, I can always take the F-16, but we built it for the Mirage. I just noticed I didn't even give a number to the F-16. I just copied and pasted and changed the plane. Alright, so I'm in the cockpit of my French Mirage, if you're curious to know what it looks like. It's pretty dark because it's very early in the morning, but this plane is blue. It looks gray, but it's blue. So we've got a few little objects here and there to make it look alive on the airfield. Let me just set my track IR so that it runs properly. So let's check our things here. I'm going to want to have the bombs on red. And then I'm going to want to have the bombs on the fuselage when it's going to be time to drop them. We'll drop them in salvo mode. And about the rest, I think that's going to be it. Just want to see that works. Okay, changing these waypoint numbers. This here, I like to drop it so I can see my fuel. This will unhide so that we can do that. So this. Oh, I think I just deployed the chute. Yeah. In this plane, my switch on the joystick for the master arm is for the chute, so I'll put it centered. I have to restart the mission now if I want to have a chute. I think this is going to be faster than if I were to just do a reload of the weaponry and everything. Oh, and you get to see the enemy helicopter there. Alright, so let's start again. And we go here. We want this on red. We'll want bombs on fuselage when we get to that. So here I could have just tested it like that. It's gonna be good. This we open up. The parking brake is off. This is to turn it on. This is off. And this we won't. Well, maybe we could open it up if we need to drop anything at one point. Then I like to have my flaps here in the takeoff position. There we go. So I think we'll be good to go now. Oh, one more thing. This here, we want it to go to 152, so it's always faster to do that on the ground because it takes a long time. There we go. If I activate the bombs, yeah, we see the reticle there. That's what I want. Okay. So we're here. We're going to taxi to the runway over there. So we'll just need to turn left. So here we go. With our French Mirage, we are fighting for France. Oops, this says on the quick turn rate of the nose wheel, as I just noticed. Went a bit hard on the rudders. So let's taxi to the runway and hope that this is going to be a fun little flight. Mirage, it's not the easiest plane to fly if you don't fly it for 2 weeks. You have to remember a lot of things. So hopefully I'll be alright. Just notice the lights are on. Since I won't be flying with anybody else, I'm gonna turn those off right away. No flashy flash. Yeah, there we go. And I didn't set up the radios or anything, so I'm not going to talk to the tower. I'm mostly interested to see if I'm going to be able to drop my bombs properly. I might use this same mission eventually to practice dropping the belugas, because the targets, they're in a forest. So I thought for the F-16 I can drop the CBU-87s, but then I thought, hey, I could have put some belugas. Alright, so we're slowly going in the air. Let's get those, whoops. Let's get the wheels in. There we go. Flaps up. And then we'll head for our first waypoint. Haven't put this in nav mode, which is another one of those little things I forget sometimes. Whoops. There we go. So now we should be pointed. It's pointing to where to cuff. There we go. So 11 miles in that direction. That makes more sense. So let's get off the afterburner. I think we're fast enough at this time. 400 knots already. Altitude, I'm at 3,000 feet. I think I want it to be at about 2,005 over those hills there in front of me. And I think that's the town over there where you see those two smokes. That's where I'm headed. There's a AAA and a SAMS that's been destroyed there, which I mostly put there for decoration so that I know where my target is going to be. We're 4 miles from our IP. We're at about 2,500, which is where I want it to be. Just over the hilltop here so that I can have a stealthy approach. I don't know if we see the blue of the plane a little bit better. Not really. Sun's not quite up yet, that's why. But it looks sort of gray, so it's like a form of camouflage, I guess. So we'll switch to the next waypoint, which is our target waypoint, and therefore we'll arm the bombs. So I should have turned a little bit earlier. So I'm going to overcompensate just a little bit. And then we'll try to go spot what we need to hit visually. Yeah, I need to move a little bit more in that direction, and now I'm going to need speed. So let's dive and get some speed. And now let's line up with the target. Ooh, I'm getting shot at. Bombs away. Ooh, we see some explosions. Did we hit in the right spot? I'm not even sure. Oh, am I in training mode? Oh no, okay. I dropped the fuselage bombs. I didn't drop the wing bombs. So I still have bombs. Okay. I thought I only had fuselage bombs. Should have put everything. Then I would have had like a longer bomb stick. So okay, bomb voilure, and these are on the interior. Because on the exterior, it's the rockets. Let's try this again then. Saw explosions, but I don't know if I caught my vehicles. I mean, the trucks that are hidden, I guess they would have caught fire if I had hit them. Especially with those pretty big bombs. I'm gonna put the camera in that direction so that when we switch, we'll see if we got anything. Alright, so let's give it some speed and head for the targets. Bombs away. Okay, this time I think I got better hits. And now we'll switch to rockets. And these are on the exterior. So for the rockets, I'll do a dive bomb. Instead of using the crosshair, I'm going to use this here to help me line up. There's quite a bit of fire there. So maybe we got most of what we wanted. Now let's see. I know there's a AAA somewhere. Is that this little dot in the field? We look here, there's a dot in the field, because that area looks like I got pretty much what I wanted to hit. So I think that's the guy who was shooting at us earlier. Let's go see from up close. Yeah, that looks like a vehicle. Oop, that fired a bit high. Maybe my dive was a little bit too steep. Did it come close enough to hit it? Not sure. Good news is I think I still have a few rockets. Yeah, he's still shooting. So he's not dead. He's probably mad a bit. I don't know if that got... Yeah, that got him. Cool. It was like last minute thing. Alright. That's pretty cool. Now, we'll get off of that maybe arm one of the air-to-air missiles. I'm gonna head for my next waypoint. But before I do, I'll check around if I spot any enemy helicopter. Did I see something there, or was that the cloud? For fuel, we're still good. We don't really have very far to fly in this one because it's just practice. You should bring the radar. How do I change the range on the radar? I forget. Do have something there. We've got a lock. There it is. Now, I don't think I had armed the right thing for the missiles. Is that it? That my air-to-air missile? Ah, there we go. Ah, I had locks, but didn't track. Am I gonna try with guns or? Okay, I've lost my visuals. I'm gonna try to dive. See if it's here, if it went low. Sometimes the helicopters, they dive after you shoot at them. Okay, there it is. Not very good at air-to-air. If I could remember my auto lock button, that would be good, right? I think I got it. There we go. That's a hit. Kaboom. All right. Pretty good. So was that the button? Yeah, that's the air-to-air mode button. And this was the auto lock thing there. Okay. So I guess my muscle memory helped me a lot here because I wasn't too sure which buttons to press, to be honest. So let's give it a little bit of trim. Now, how do I get the radar back to where it needs to go? Are these the range things? Or is it this? No, this is for comms. So many buttons. Okay, now we're back on the range thing. Okay, well, we're scanning. That's all I need. I'll have to review my air-to-air because I did have the tone on the missiles, but I really didn't have like probably the proper range to shoot because they were tracking, but they didn't follow the helicopter after launch, so they weren't tracking very well. Now when I'm curious, I'll just try to trim the plane here. That should do it. Is if I go check here, there must not be a lot left here. Because this guy who left But yeah, our trucks that were hidden here, they're pretty much all on fire or destroyed. So, pretty good stuff. So I'm heading towards the sun, but luckily when I land, I'm gonna have the sun in my back. The airfield is somewhere around here, but kind of hard to see with the sun. Let's see, like for the autopilot, is it this one first or is it this one first? Autopilot, altitude. There we go. And then you can look out the window and see, like, where's my airfield? There's my airfield right there. Okay. And business. And we're about to be ready to change waypoints. So we'll remove the autopilot. Switch waypoints. That's gonna bring us on final for the landing. So already we could start thinking about slowing down a little bit. So that's our airfield. And since I'm gonna have to turn almost 180, maybe I'll start my turn a little bit earlier. Start slowing down. Ah, now we can see it's blue. If we want to slow a little bit more, we can do this with the air brakes. Switch for the airfield, for the waypoint. Check our speed below 250. We'll get our gear down, flaps down. Yeah, no, I'm a bit fast. To get my bearing on the runway. There it is. Okay. And often to land, we kind of like to do that. So there we go. That's like having flight path marker. Left. Okay, that's the taxiway. I want the runway. Even though the plane's a joy to fly, I find I don't fly it enough to feel super comfortable with it most of the time. But it comes back to you eventually, so guess now we're just gonna try to make this a nice soft landing. Not too bad. Let's get the chute out. Always seems to want to lose control on landing, especially when you're braking. So I'm happy I have rudders where I can use differential braking. That's how I control my heading on the landing. Didn't even deploy my air brakes. That could have helped me. Alright, so the chute was enough, I guess. Trying to remember which key does the nose wheel steering. Okay, it's this one. Because of the way my joystick is configured for the different planes that I have about 4 different buttons that sometimes will be used for nose wheel steering. And so I had to go through all 4 of them to find which one I needed. And so we'll get rid of the chute. There we go. And I guess we can take it back to our parking spot. Now what I'm wondering is, do I feel like trying again with the F-16, or do I just go park this? Let's go check how the stream is going. Seems to be going well. I see there are lots of messages. Let me just try to bring it in the parking here and see if I can follow what's going on with the chat a little bit. We'll just park it here for now. Yeah, Tempest, I'm not the best dogfighter, I would say, but the plane seems to do pretty well. When I originally got it, like, I had learned how to use the different systems a little bit better than what you saw here with when I was flying against the helicopter there. And I did a little bit of training to go fly on the Cold War server, because over there it's pretty competitive. And when you understand how to maneuver it, how to use the maneuvering flaps and all this stuff, it is very maneuverable, and it can be fast, but at slower speeds it can also be pretty maneuverable. So there, and yeah, the Vigan, the version they have in the DCS is really more like the air-to-ground Vigan than more than the version they had made for air-to-air. So I'm gonna taxi to my parking area, which is more or less where I took off, and then maybe once I get there I'll see in chat if you'd like me to try this again with the Mirage, or if you'd like me to try it with the F-16, because it's the same mission. It's just I can do it with both planes. I'm a little bit more proficient with the F-16 because I've had it for much longer, and I fly it more or less on a weekly basis with my flights with my wingman. We fly a lot of the F-16 and the Hornet, the more modern jets. But I sort of discovered the Cold War planes with the Mirage F1. Then I got the MiG-21, and then we had the F4 that came out, and lately I've been flying those three quite a bit. Even the Su-25, the A version, the original, that's in Flaming Cliffs, those are all kind of fun planes to fly. When we got the update on the F5 as well, I got to fly that one a little bit more than I had in a while. Those are all fun planes to fly. The F-16 and the Hornet are really nice because you get all those data links and radars and targeting pods that can help you be very precise on targets without putting yourself too much in danger. But I kind of like danger once in a while, so taking those older planes forces you to have a little bit of skill when you're going to hit targets. Like this one I just did, I had to come in low and line up the targets as I saw the tracers from the AAA coming at me. It adds a little bit of stress, let's say, to the mission. If I try this with an F-16, I'll probably be able to get things done a little bit faster with less worries. So let's reposition it so that it would be ready for the next flight, and let's see what the chat had to say there. So there. They do have plans for the F1M, the more modern version. They started with the CE, then they did the double E, then they did the B, which is the twin-seater, and they are going to make the more modern version. Alright, lots of talks about F-16, so what I'm thinking now is we're going to reload the mission. I'm just going to hit the quit key to see what we did here. Let's look at our kills. So we got a bunch of trucks with rockets. Did I get... Oh, I think I got the thing with my gun here. You can see that there's no kills with the rockets. Probably scared them a lot. But I got the AAA with my guns, and then I got the helicopter with the guns. So I'm going to hit fly again, and then we'll pick the F-16 for the next flight. You'll see the mission will take much less time. I don't have an AWACS, and I don't have the data link and everything because of that. But this is the F-16 I put in there. It's a Greek F-16. I got 2 rocket pods. I've got the CBU 87s and 2 Sidewinder mics. And with that we can do the same job that we just did in the Mirage, but we do have technology like a helmet mounted display like this. Here we have our HSI, which helps a lot with navigation. We have an RWR, which will tell you if anything wants to attack us. I'll use my sort of familiar settings here. And then I'm going to power up the targeting pod, although I probably won't use it. For my rockets, I like to shoot them in pairs. For the bombs, I think we're going to ripple all 6 of them. Or do I drop 4 and then 2? I think I'll go for 6. And then I'll make like the spacing about 130, something like that. So I'll put it in CCIP, and if we use the targeting pod, we could use CCRP, or we could just drop the bombs on the waypoint with CCRP as well. So there. So I'm going to remove that. Here we only have those, so that solves that. And so let's taxi to the runway. Nose wheel steering activated. And we're rolling. So I'm going to give my HUD just a little bit more brightness. There we go. It's a nice looking plane too, right? On this one, since I actually know how things work, I could go here and be nice and say, okay, the frequency is 134. Let's go to COM2 13400, enter. Tower, can we take off?
Kutasi, in field 1, request startup. Field 1, Kutasi, cleared for startup. Kutasi, in field 1, request taxi to runway. Field 1, Kutasi, cleared to taxi to runway 25. Kutasi, in field 1, request takeoff. Field 1, Kutasi, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.77.
And we're going to go full afterburner. So we're going to get the gears up. Kind of like to put my gun cross below the 10 degrees there so that I can pick up speed a bit faster like that after takeoff. Now the plane wants to move to the left. It's because of my autopilot. Again, I have switches that I use for autopilot in different planes, and they were on the setting that I would normally use with the Mirage when they're off, but the off position for the Mirage will get those switches to attitude hold and this other setting there for this one, so that's why my plane wanted to fight me. Alright, you might have noticed after takeoff I put the lights on steady. I think that when you're taxiing with the F-16 you flash the lights for the tower, and after you take off you put them on steady, but since now we're heading for a target, we're just gonna turn everything off right here. And so again, like before, we have our two smokes there, and somewhere between that building and some garages there's a forest, and in that forest we have lots of juicy targets. So we'll switch to air to ground. We're in CCIP. And so for these CBUs, I want to drop them from a little bit higher so they have time to open up. I think they open up at 1,500. So that will change a little bit how I approach the target. And of course we have that nice little diamond right on the waypoint. So that makes targeting much easier. So basically what I need to do is try to line up the forest the way I want to line it up. There we go, we can see our targets. And then I'll put the bomb pickle button on top of the target and we'll wait for the bombs to drop. There we go. Kaploom, kaploom, kaploom. Let's watch them fall. And that's how you do a cluster attack with the F-16. See a lot of secondary explosions. And so I still have rockets, so I'm going to switch to my rockets. And again, unlike the Mirage F1 earlier where I had to do a little bit of guesswork to be able to know where to shoot the rockets, as soon as I'm going to put my nose pointing at the ground, you can see that little circle here. This calculates the impact where the rockets are going to hit. So if I want to go hit that vehicle in the field that we had earlier, I'll just point at it and go like that, walk the rockets to it. And just for good measure. And it's on fire, and we can go home. Although, there's a helicopter in the area, right? So, cool thing with multi-role aircraft is after you've dropped your air-to-ground ordnance, you can switch to air-to-air, and then you can try to locate your target, which is, we're kind of in luck here, because it's right in front of us. Is that it? Is that a false reading? Sometimes we get the false echoes with the F-16, so yeah, I don't think I have something at Angels 15 that far, so we'll reduce the distance to, let's say, 20, and we'll look around here, see if there's a helicopter that appears. Let's put it like that. Point it that way. Can also scan visually. Maybe I should increase my brightness. Oh, there's something here. Okay. Oop. Don't know how I got that, but I know that he might be here, close by, in the sun. that him there? Yeah, I got a visual. It's just that tiny little dot over there. I could maybe come and surprise him with just my infrared. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'm behind him, so he won't see me coming. So I won't give him a lock, although I think the Mi-8 doesn't even have an RWR. But you can see that the Sidewinder has found him. Fox 2. Oh, now he sees me. So he's flaring. And now I'm too close. So what I'll do is switch to my dogfight mode. There we go. There. I've lost my visual playing with my modes. The sun is not helping. There he is, okay. So I've got a lock. I'll shoot my other missile, but he's still flaring, but this time we'll go with guns. There we go. Kaboom. I put a little bit of my Hollywood effects on these Mi-8 helicopters because otherwise they're impossible to shoot down. So after you've gotten a few hits on them, I put a trigger to make them explode. Because I've seen these Mi-8s take 3 missiles and survive, or you fill them with guns and they lose like their little wings that carry the rockets, but they still fly back to their base with no tires. It's a little bit OP. So I evened the score a little bit by putting my Hollywood special effects. So now that we're done with air to air, we'll go back to our navigation. Since this is the boring part, we'll go a little bit faster through that one. There we go, and then next waypoint. Like that. Doop doop doo, dooby dooby doo. Airfield's right there. And so we'll get the autopilot off, get our air brakes out, slow down, switch to the waypoint, that's the runway, and we're going to pull some G's to slow down.
Altitude.
50, we'll get the gear down. In the F-16 we can raise the seat a little bit when we're landing so we can keep our angle of attack and actually see through the HUD. So we're sort of on speed. Putting my flight path marker just a little bit below the runway because I like to be at about 2.5 in terms of my descent, so you can see that the 2.5 markers are a little bit above the runway. So by doing this, I'm dropping like a rock right now, and then I'll bring that line over here with the base of the runway, and then I can bring my flight path marker even to all that. Slow down a little bit more because I'm still a bit fast. But then if you look at the plane in the outside view, I've got a nice angle with my nose up. The rear wheels are going to hit the ground first. Everything is set up properly. So it's just a question of keeping lined up with the runway. Minor corrections with the rudder. A bit fast, I'm going to slow down. Not too much. And we're going to flare just a little bit. And we touch down, we keep the nose up for aerodynamic braking a little bit. And then when it touches down, you get the brake. Now we're going to turn the nose wheel steering on, and you can see that I had raised my seat quite a bit, so now I can lower it so that I can have a more normal view out the HUD. And we'll taxi off the runway. So when you fly those older jets like the Mirage F1, when you're coming back to an F-16 or a Hornet, makes everything look quite easy. The air brakes in. Let's see if we have any little comments there. So there. Yes, that's why I eventually did my dogfight mode to lock the targets. And I could uncage the Sidewinder. Yeah, that's also a good idea. Testicular G-Force, your new member, welcome. And it's cool that you're discovering the joys of DCS. And yeah, these are fun helicopters, the K-50 Apache. Yeah, the F4 is a fun plane, but it's quite difficult to learn. I find that the modern jets are a little bit easier to learn at first, but again, it all goes with what you like. In DCS, you should go with the things you enjoy flying. Usually it's going to make you want to learn it. The thing with planes like the F4 or the Mirage F1 that I was just flying before is that You have like analog gauges that you have to understand how they work in order to use them for navigation, or to use the TACANs or the radios that you can follow beacons with to know where you're going. Versus like in an F-16, if I look at this screen, I can see my whole flight plan and I can decide which waypoint I want to go to. Makes it a bit simpler. Although some people find learning these systems and the MFDs quite complicated, so really depends on what floats your boat. I like a little bit of both, so I mix it up, and I like the helicopters too. Tonight I flew the Apache with my wingman, and we cleared up a bunch of tanks, and we were able to spot some man-pads launchers and give him a hard time. The cool thing with the Apache is that you can fly as the pilot, or you can switch to the front seat and actually operate the camera and lace targets and shoot them. Kind of fun. The Ka-50, what's nice is that you're the one operating everything, so you can do a little bit of everything, but I find the workload is a bit harder. But I own all the DCS helicopters, so I guess it shows that I kind of like flying in the rotorcraft. And so we'll go park the F-16, and I guess that's going to be it for me for tonight. But thanks for everybody who joined. It was nice to see that there was quite a bit of life in the chat and lots of people watching. I'll probably fly again with my wingman on Saturday. Sometimes I do some lives after that, and tomorrow night I'm free. I'm pretty much free all day tomorrow, actually, so I'll see what I can do. If I find things that are interesting to do. I still have an F-16 mission that I haven't broadcast yet that could be fun to show in a broadcast. And so yeah, hope you enjoyed this little flight. Nice little atmosphere here at the airfield. And so we'll ask the ground crew to put the wheel chocks.
Chief, place the wheel chocks. Copy. Wheel chocks are now in place.
And the wheel chocks are in place. We'll do our little lazy shutdown. And I guess that's going to be it for tonight. Maybe I could check the comments one last time, and then we'll call it an evening. It's fun to see the targeting pod rotate and go in the stowed position when you're turning the systems off. And then the canopy's going to open. There we go. Yeah, I like the different eras. I'm not a huge fan of the World War II stuff, and I think DCS maybe could have a little bit more in that area, but I have a few American planes. I have the Spitfire as well. I have the Messerschmitt on the German side. They're kind of fun. The Mosquito, when I got that one, I flew it for quite a bit too, because it's a bigger plane with 2 engines. It's interesting for that. But the one era that I haven't flown all that much is the Korean War. I do have the F86. I trialed the MiG-15, and now we have both in the Flaming Cliffs 2024, but I don't fly those two very much. But yeah. Yes, the rotor flying off the Huey is something that happens a lot at first when you're starting out with that helicopter, but keep at it and you'll be able to land it like nice and smooth without losing any parts. Alright, so nice last little look here at our F-16 that's parked, and I guess that's going to be it for me, so cool handout.